Well, it says you are live, so we must be live.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Eternal Baseball Podcast.
We sing the theme song.
Do. Yeah, Brent's the tech guy. He gets all that working, and apparently I don't. But I think we are live, so that's good. That's a good start.
Look, at 30 seconds in, we have to be.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Eternal Baseball Podcast. I'm your normal host, Mark Weber, but climbing the charts with a bullet is our favorite guest host, Mike Irizarry from the What's on Joe Mind podcast.
That makes me the abnormal host, I think. If you're
Yeah, but
host, I'm the abnormal host.
Only a club of 3, right? So it's pretty exclusive company.
It is, truly.
And given that we're both Yankee fans, we are dying for some real competitive baseball and hoping that we bring it to you tonight on the Eternal Baseball Podcast. Of course, tonight will be the Red Hot Cubs, I think winners of 16 of their last 19, heading out to Arizona, mild stomping grounds, to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks. So,
Did you set us up to lose another one?
Maybe I did. Really, we're sort of a victim of the schedule a little bit because we've only got like 7 teams that haven't been on the podcast yet, and there were no double matchups where we could, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So the Diamondbacks haven't been on yet. Cubs have been on earlier, but Diamondbacks have been scuffling lately, hovering around 500 and not making up much ground in the National League South, whereas the Cubs have been flying and trying to catch up to the Cardinals. I think they sit 3 back right now in that National League North. So as always, we want to take a look at the week that was. So let me get my.
I may have an inkling to just try and toss this one for real in revenge of the 2001 World Series.
And that's fine. I got no problem with that. And I love that the lingering bit of Randy Johnson killing us. I can get my Yankeeism on. Killing the Yankees as a Mariner, and then killing the Yankees as a Diamondback, and then killing the Yankees as a Yankee.
He's one of the worst Yankees of all time.
I remember when he barked at some people on the street before he'd even been announced.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
on his way to the press conference.
I'm like, this is not going to go well at all. And it sure didn't. So the one of my favorite bits, I think it was like the backup bullpen catcher for the Yankees, was a fan of the McFarland Sports Picks figures when I was working for McFarland. And so we sent a steady stream of them up to him at Yankee Stadium. And once in a while when we were in town, he would let us come by. So I have one of my favorite pictures. I have a picture of me running out of the bullpen, Mariano style, onto the field, which I'm super proud of. And then
in uniform.
Well, no, actually we had to wait outside after it was a day game. So it was after the game finished, we got let in. Me and my buddy Ben Vance from McFarland. And so we got to run around the stadium a little bit, like not go wild, but we got to go in Monument Park with nobody else there. We got to run out the wall where Ben took the picture from center field of me trotting in from the pen. Got a picture in the dugout, got a picture tapping the DiMaggio sign saying, I thank the good Lord for making me a Yankee. And then when we went back from in the hallway from the bullpen back to the clubhouse and stuff, there were pretty low-hanging metal pipes. Again, this is the old Yankee Stadium. And they had like pool noodles wrapped around them with like duct tape holding the pool noodles on. It didn't look Yankee Stadium. It didn't look first class. And as we were walking back there, I didn't have to duck, but it wasn't that far off. I'm 6'2". And our contacted catcher was like, yeah, guess who got the pool noodles installed? I'm like, oh. Can you imagine the first time pissed off Randy Johnson, who hates being there in the first place, clonked his head in a dark hallway going back to the clubhouse?
It was probably still making that reverb sound when they tore the building down.
Right? Like, I can only imagine how mad he must have been the first time he ate that pipe. But you know what? kind of earned it, right, for the performance that we got to see.
It's tough to be a Yankee killer as a Yankee, but man,
yeah,
he got it.
Man, right up there with Pavano and Whitson, and I mean, I guess he wasn't that bad, but he was just there's nothing.
Ed Whitson was okay too. Carl Pavano was an absolute. Although he's not so much a Yankee killer after he left. He was the Yankees had his number once he was gone.
Yeah, he was pretty much done. I remember the year that Pavano was coming back from some injury, and the whole starting lineup was so hurt that Pavano was the healthy one, and he was going to start on opening day. And I'm like, oh my god!
They get it'll be a miracle.
Day one is Pavano, and you know that's not going to last. So yeah, it was a lost year for the Pinstripes. But taking a look at what we've got right now. So we're looking at week 17. We had a full week after we had the short week because of our extended Tuesday broadcast the week before. So we're out here looking at week 17. And your strength this week, my favorite bet, the San Diego Padres at 40-61 had a 6-0 week. So look out. Part of that is Dave Winfield. A lot of it is Tony Gwynn, who was a slow starter but has been red hot trying to get his numbers back where they need to be. So the Padres put together an outstanding week this week, as did the Cardinals, who have been stubborn holding on to their lead in the National League North. The Chicago Cubs, I think it is, 5-1. And if you trace that back over the last 3 weeks, you've got them at 5-1, 9-1, 15-3. So the Cubbies have done real well. The Braves have held on strong on top of the National League South. They have a good week at 5-1. Whereas our Diamondbacks for the night turned in a forgettable 1-5, as did Cleveland, which was troublesome for them because the Tigers looked mortal this week atop the North at 3-3, but they actually lost ground. That's an opportunity missed. Kansas City behind Frank White and Amos Otis and now Bo Jackson, who just got called up.
There we go.
Pulling out to a 1-5 week. And the Marlins 1-5.
No AAA.
Right. That's not that unusual for the Marlins. My favorite bit today, we have 2 players of the day that we always put up on Facebook. And depending on who they are, we can get, a couple hundred likes depending. And yesterday it was in separate games, Pujols as a Cardinal and Ron Santo as a Cub, who's tremendously popular. So we had a lot of good feedback yesterday, and we appreciate Mr. Santo and Mr. Pujols spreading the eternal baseball gospel. And then today, one guy with a 6 RBI day that just could not be denied, and the other guy with, I think, 2 homers and a double and 4 runs and 5 RBI was Charlie Blackmon and Aubrey Huff of the Rays.
Ugh.
And I mean, talk about not moving the needle. Like, oof. I was happy to get Blackmon on there just so I could use the line that he leads the league in total beard. I was pretty happy with that major league ripoff. But Aubrey Huff, not the only cool thing was the photo is the old one, right? With the old Ray, with the Ray behind the TV, and
sure,
Aubrey Huff just keeping it proud for you Tampa Bay faithful.
Just making everybody long for the days of Steve Cox.
Right, man. So that's what we're looking at this week. We did have, let's see if I can find it, in the wins. We have our first 20-game winner. It's Grover Alexander of the Philadelphia Phillies. 20-2 so far. So I'm kind of dying to replace his picture with one of actual Grover, because I've got a few Easter eggs rolling around like that. Like, you should see Jose Bautista's picture. It's tremendous.
Didn't Ronald Reagan play him in the movie?
Is that true? I don't know that.
I think so. If it's old Pete Alexander, then it would be that would be the Gipper.
That we could make that work too. Yeah. So I got a couple of those. I'm trying to think who's funky out there. Like Robin Ventura has a very predictable photograph. Starring another different Hall of Fame guy. And
came already loaded in the game, though. You probably didn't have to do that yourself.
You know what? I've done a little monkeying. Like, if Oscar Gamble was on the Yanks, I would try to get that whole throw in the picture. But I'm trying to think who else is funky. Bautista is funky, taking a good right hand from Ruby Odor. I'm trying to think who else has a really funky picture. I got Griffey with the hat backwards, right? Like there's some things that write themselves, but by and large, we try to keep it pretty respectful. So let's before we
start using guys' pictures from backyard baseball.
Right. One thing I have been doing is the photos that we kind of inherited with the game had colorized a lot of the ancient but vintage photography from like the 20s.
Sure.
And as good a job as people do with that, it always looks a little wonky to me anyway. Like, and I just prefer the black and white photo for a guy who played in the 20s or the 30s. A color photo of Gehrig never looks like Gehrig to me. So we're trying to adapt that. So anyway,
the subtlety is lost.
Yeah, I totally agree. So looking into the standings here, there really weren't any changes this week. But the Mets are starting to show a little bit of life, but they're 10 games back of the Phillies in the East. And again, we're about, we're 101 games into the season. So, if you're further than 10 games out, you're kind of dead and buried. And again, there's no wild cards because we've got 8 divisions. So if you want to get in, you got to win your division. So the Mets are hanging on the fringe. Atlanta has pulled away from Houston in the South. They've got an 11-game lead. The best division is the National League North, where the Cardinals have held on pretty stubbornly up top for quite a while. But Chicago has made a real push, and Pittsburgh has fallen off the pace just a little bit. But with the Cubs only 3 games back and the Pirates 5 games back, that's our best division and really what I hope to have more of coming down the stretch. But this is the only one where it looks like there's 3 teams with a real shot at it. The Giants have come back down to earth a little bit, but the Dodgers are still 13 games back. That seems kind of done. The Dodgers have been at 55 and 46. They're not terrible, but I expected better from, Koufax and Drysdale and Valenzuela and Hershiser and Kershaw. And I just thought we'd get a little more, but it's been a down year for the Dodgers. And then in the East, the Red Sox and Yankees are tied in this death grip battle, trying to figure out who comes out of the East. And Boston just lives and dies, depending on if they have to use their 4th and 5th starter. Because 1 through 3, they go Pedro, Clemens, Cy Young.
Well, I mean, so long as we keep the Yankees off the program,
right.
To win.
So we can't sink them. It's true.
Exactly.
It has been a tough year on the Eternal Baseball podcast for our beloved New York Yankees. One of the stories of the week, Birmingham, which is the assembled best talents from the Negro Leagues, they've run away with the South. They're up 30.5 games on Kansas City and Tampa and Texas. So we got a 3-way tie for second, I guess. And this always looked like it was going to be a pretty weak division for Birmingham because, again, they're pulling from almost 50 years of Negro League baseball. But Kansas City, Tampa, and Texas are all expansion teams on some level. Right. So they have less overall lineage to pull from. So we kind of thought Birmingham might skate in the South, and that's totally stood up. But this was the first week, I guess I wasn't paying attention, they actually leapfrogged San Francisco, who's been the best team in the league pretty much all year. But now it's Birmingham, who would have, I think, a 2-game lead or a game and a half over San Fran in overall standings. So kudos to Birmingham. I'm just, my only not worry, but the caveat is they've been great, but they've been feasting on their own division, which has been subpar. So I don't expect them to just march through the playoffs.
No slight to the great Amos Otis and Frank White.
No. Nor to Aubrey Huff and Deoner Navarro and Carl Crawford and the rest of the Rays. And
An all-time team. That's just a bad all-time team.
It's just bad, yeah. And there are some teams like that they don't have enough to pull from to compete normally. But one of the things that I always take to heart, before we got this rolling, we simulated 10 seasons just to make sure there wasn't, an imbalance somewhere. And we wanted to see how much variance there was season to season, because every player can vary up to 60%, right? 30% up to 30% down. And one year, the Rangers were phenomenal, and they just steamrolled to the title. So, I mean, if you get a year when, Pudge and Palmeiro and Longon and Nelson Cruz, if they all hit, if they're all up in one year, yeah, it's like that fairy tales can come true, right? But I like that randomness, because that is baseball a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Rare enough, but once in a while, you just have your 3, 4, 5 hitters all have big years, and look out. So that's my glimmer of hope for you Ranger fans out there, that it happened once, just, not in the real baseball that we're doing.
The amazing Rangers.
Yeah, the Rangers, and we're with Frank Howard. And I never knew he was a senator, right? There's only 2 senators that made the all-time Ranger roster, because the second iteration of the Senators became the Texas Rangers. And it's Frank Howard, who was, I think, 6'8".
He was a large man, yes.
Oh, man, and I thought his nickname was probably Frankenstein, because Frank and 6'8". But I guess his nickname was the Washington Monument.
Nice.
And I'm like, that's good. I like that. We'll roll with that. So he made the Rangers, and so did Toby. Is it Hara or Hurrah? I forget.
Toby Hara.
Toby Hara was a senator for like a year.
He was also a Ranger too. So
and then he was a Ranger forever. But it's like Harmon Killebrew was a senator for 2 years before they became the Twins. So he's got that lineage at least. Up north, Detroit's got a healthy 11-game lead on Cleveland. And then out west, the Angels were red hot, and now they've turned cold. So they've slowed down, and the Twins got back into it, sort of, and then they cooled off. So Oakland is steadily in control, 6-game lead on the Angels, 8-game lead on Minnesota. And one change for Oakland that happened this week, Dave Stewart had been pitching out of their pen as a kind of a setup guy. Oakland's pen is not deep. It's good, but it's not deep. It's Eck and Raleigh Fingers. And beyond that, it's like, It's guys who would be starters. It was Stewart and Vida Blue mainly getting the chore of those meaningful 7th innings. But Stewart's been amazing, and most of Oakland's rotation has been disappointing. So just this week, Stewart got elevated to the starting rotation, got his first start of the year, and threw like 7 innings of 1-run ball. So you wouldn't think that, although I kind of like the idea of Stewart's death stare coming in from the pen.
Yeah, he really did miss his calling, but they already seriously. So
I can just imagine him giving guys heart attacks on the walk to the mound, right? Like, we got to get a pinch hitter up. Why? Because Billy Butler, or Brett Butler just died in the on-deck circle. Well, fair enough. Get somebody up then. Tell Joe Carter to swing that bat. So that's where we're at from a standings perspective. We did talk about Grover Alexander's the first 20-game winner. Also, I never knew much about Dodgers outfielder Zach Wheat, who played in the 30s, I think. But his career, he's still, I think, their career leader for the Dodgers in hits and doubles and triples and maybe runs. He has a 20-game hit streak right now, which is excellent. The best in a while. The records of
Wheat.
Yeah, good for you, Mr. Wheat. And after he retired from baseball, what did he become? Mr. Wheat.
No idea.
Farmer.
Well, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. He retired to a farm, and then I guess they had to sell the family farm, and he became a police officer. So good for you, officer.
Ironically enough, potatoes.
Right? Good for you, Officer Wheat. So good for Zach. He's at 20 games. The record is for Eternal Baseball is 34, set by Detroit's Harry Heilman, who's all over the leaderboards, one of our best players. And then we're keeping an eye on DJ LeMahieu, who keeps trending up in eternal baseball at least, and is up there at 379. So good for him.
He's no
But
Willie
today,
Randolph.
no. And the funny part was George Brett was ruling the batting chase for 3 months probably, and then ceded the throne and has since, I don't want to say dive bombed to 335, but he was at 380. So knowing George Brett, he's mad about that.
I mean, to fall 50 points off of 385, it means he went 1 for 6 or something. So it's a tough break.
Poor George Brett. Not to pile on the Royals fans, but
tough break.
So we're moving ahead here on the schedule. It always defaults to 2019, which slows us down. But we're moving up to June 2021, the first game off the Monday schedule. It is Chicago at Arizona. And it's time for baseball. All right, so it looks like we're facing, I think it's Ed Reulbach with his 1.58 ERA. So no troubles.
No worries. We're good.
And Arizona's rotation is normally Webb, Corbin, Kennedy, Heron, Hudson. Don't think I didn't take some flack from my Arizona buddies when I told them about the project, and they went, "Oh, well, with Schilling and Clemens, or Schilling and Randy, we'll be solid all year long." I'm like, "Yeah, about that." Remember Brandon Webb?
Look, he was good. I still say your call on Schilling was correct. Your call on Randy Johnson was not. I'd still say Randy Johnson's a Diamondback.
Yeah, I think that one could really go either way. And the funny thing is, Seattle's been terrible with him, so he may have, he definitely would have moved the needle more in Arizona.
Like real life.
Yeah, I guess that's
like
true.
real life.
I guess that's true. See, that's how realistic a sim it is.
Real.
So let's check in here and see who's Webb just through, Corbin through. So it looks like it's Ian Kennedy tonight for us.
Goodness, we are toast.
Former Yankee, so we got that going for us.
Yeah, I think currently isn't he in the Texas bullpen or something? He's
a reliever now somewhere, but not bad, right?
No, he's not bad, but he's clearly in that hanging on stage of his career where he just like if he throws more than 40 pitches, his arm falls off.
I remember he was already on kind of shaky ground, at least with the fans in the Yankee organization, and he got bombed at home against the Sox. And afterwards, he was like, "You know what? Hey, I'm sorry I didn't perform better, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go home. I'm going to hug my wife. It's a game, right?" I'm like, "Oh, brother." That I'm sure plenty of people feel that way. But
he's right, but
but
just something you don't say after that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who could have given him a little advice on that, like maybe not. So,
I mean,
so anyway,
even if he just stopped to talk to his bookie.
Right. So this is what the computer is suggesting here as far as a lineup for us here. But let's dig into how they're actually doing. That's this RP column here for replay. So it looks like the top guys are all in the lineup, other than they've got Montero in instead of Carson Kelly, who is, I guess Montero is better than Kelly. Okay. David Peralta in left. We could play AJ Pollock there if we want, but it's basically the same thing. And Peralta is a much better fielder. Carson
Kelly is already on the all-time Diamondbacks team.
I mean, for catcher, right? So
yeah. Nobody else. Like I understand, Carson Kelly has been a world beater in 2021, right? He is having an incredible year this year, and he was pretty good last year. But before that, he didn't play. So I'm really thrown by that.
Yeah, it's so thin for the Diamondbacks. Like, he can take credit for his partial St. Louis years because he doesn't belong to St. Louis. So sometimes there's guys like that who he's taking some St. Louis stats with him, even though he belongs to the Diamondbacks.
Play there. That's why they got rid of him.
Well, it's hard to get playing time in St. Louis behind the plate.
Behind the ageless cranky wonder.
Yeah, he's pretty.
Name that Molina.
So I don't think I'd change anything here, even though we got a couple of lefties atop the lineup. I don't think I want to move Goldschmidt to the 2. All right, I'm going to trust the computer that it knows what it's doing. And Bob Brenly is taking some time off from broadcasting, but he's here to manage the Diamondbacks.
Oh, well, I mean, he did win a World Series, so I guess he's got to be your guy.
So we are ready for baseball. Let's see what we got. And
welcome to Chase Field for tonight's game between Chicago and Arizona. Chicago has won 9 of their last 10. Arizona has lost 5 straight. Ed Reulbach gets the start for Chicago. He's made 19 starts on the year and is 9-7 with an earned run average of 3.17. His first start against Arizona. He'll be opposed by Ian Kennedy for Arizona. He's made 11 starts on the year and is 2-5 with an earned run average of 2.65.
Hard luck.
First start against Chicago, it's 91 degrees, wind speed 2 miles per hour, in from left field. Pitching for Arizona, number 31, Ian Kennedy. Leading off for Chicago, second baseman, Ryan Sandberg.
Now, I was late to our comments section today, so I apologize for it. And so one of our most ardent posters on the message boards is listed here as Marstanum. He's come clean that his name is Marty, and Marty is Diamondback fan number 1 and has tracked a couple things. He actually got Kennedy into the rotation because his numbers were as a reliever. And, of course, he was a starter as a Diamondback. So that's helped them out quite a bit, and he's tweaked the lineup a couple times. So we'll take some suggestions from Marty because he's been probably fan number 1 on our website. So we're happy to have.
He can't keep me from throwing the game though.
I mean, maybe he'll be like the angel versus the devil on the shoulder, right? Let me change this a little bit so we can read it a little better.
Yeah, you gotta jump up that type size, man.
Yeah, I'm working on it here. Let's try very large.
Ooh.
How's that?
That's slightly better.
Yeah, it's as big as it gets. So
yeah, that's good. We're gonna do.
Now I don't know if you recognize this guy without the Popeye forearms, but that's a specific moment in
Gonzalez.
Yeah, in dark Yankee history. Steve Finley in center. There were Padre fans mad that they didn't get Finley, but it kind of is what it is. Peralta in right, Jake Lamb at third, and that's because Matt Williams had a dreadful year, so he got benched for Jake Lamb. So I'm sure he took that in stride. Jay Bell came up because Nick Ahmed was having a tough year, and Keetle Mart plays great, but he plays anywhere.
Right.
So we slid him off a short. He played second mainly. Goldschmidt at first, Montero behind the plate. So we go to Ryan Sandberg. Wait a minute. I think it has us controlling. Yeah, we're not going to control the Cubs. There we go. Much better. Jay Bell, the original Diamondback in the
right fielder, Billy.
Good hands. Good hands on Jay Bell.
There's nothing wrong with Jay Bell. He was a good, solid player for a long time.
They insist on testing him.
Right.
Left fielder, Wilson.
This guy was an absolute beast. And it kind of looks like a heel, right? Like
he's baseball's version of Wolverine. He's 5'5" and just hits everything.
It feels like Freddie Blassie should be bringing him out or something, right? Like he just screams heel to me.
Or if he's got the FTW belt.
That's it.
He's Taz.
Pitching for good Chicago, Ed Reulbach.
Ed Reulbach.
Leading off for Arizona, center fielder, Steve Finley.
Now, Finley's a really good bunter. So we should just keep that in mind. Maybe not now, but later on, that might be helpful.
Sure.
That's kind of a bunt.
Yeah.
Woo! Number 22, Jake.
Didn't have the
Lamb.
distance. But Jake Lamb. Feeling it.
Doing what Steve Finley
Number 46, Paul Goldschmidt.
So we got a 30% steal here on Lamb. I think we'll just. I usually don't even consider it unless it's like in the 70s, right?
He's not a runner.
And Hartnett is a good catcher, good arm, good defensively. So
Yeah,
we'll probably err on the side of caution here, especially with Brent gone, because Brent always wants to run. Always.
We'll let Goldie do his job here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is Arizona Paul Goldschmidt, not St. Louis Paul Goldschmidt.
No, it looks like St. Louis Paul Goldschmidt.
Catcher, Gabby.
Especially
Hartnett.
not people in St. Louis.
Man.
Although
Gabby Hartnett.
he hasn't been awful. It's not been like Anaheim Albert Pujols. So
Yeah, I
First
suppose that's
baseman.
true. Although,
Number 44,
yeah, I know they're not working him
Anthony
too hard, but
Rizzo.
Pujols has been not bad with the Dodgers.
hey, limited appearance, limited responsibility means maximum production out of that guy at this point. He's 40 whatever years old. He's
Right.
potentially as old as I am.
That's right. I kind of wanted to see him wrap it up in St. Louis, though. That would have been pretty cool. But,
Yeah, they don't have a spot for him.
yeah, I guess you get nostalgia doesn't win you that many games.
No, maybe if it all goes south and the Dodgers cut him loose in September.
Future Yankee Anthony Rizzo steps in. Just throwing that out there.
It's way the Cubs are playing now, man. The Yankees don't have enough.
Sammy
Yeah,
Sosa.
I don't think there's a Band-Aid big enough to fix what's ailing New York right now. But Sosa qualifies as a center fielder, which is hard to fathom, but okay.
He was barely a right fielder.
I know, right? Like, yeah.
Like
He's not a very
left
good
fielder.
center fielder, but
No, he played a little bit of center field back with the White Sox early in his career, but he wasn't good there.
no. I mean, Tim Raines still qualifies at second in this game.
He
so
played, I mean, in Tim Raines' defense, at least he played a lot of games there.
I guess that's true. And proved that he didn't belong.
Was just
So
good
listen-
to get you beat.
So Gonzo ripped a gapper here. 88% chance safe if we send him a second. I assume that's a yes.
I think that's we have to. We're dealing with the immortal Ed Reulbach.
Right?
We have to take advantage of our chances here.
All right, Gonzo. Let's see the wheels.
Second
Okay.
baseman. Number 4, Keetle Mart.
Who can't bunt. So that makes us kind of academic.
We don't really need him to bunt, but look at him do the job. Look at him make it happen with
Right?
the rounder to second base.
Move the
Number
right, hit behind the
26,
runner, move the runner.
Montero.
Miguel Montero. Ducks on the pond. Oh, but not for you.
Shortstop, J. Bell.
All right.
Well, got to
Jay.
clean up the trash.
J. Bell. Not getting it done. Well, it's not on
Third
Gonzo.
baseman,
He did
No.
his job.
Ramirez.
This guy's a beast.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
a
man.
Hall of Famer.
I forgot how good he was until we looked into the numbers for this. And I'm like, good Lord. Like, not forever. Like, he was always good. But, man, there were a couple of years, and that's all you need here is a couple of years in a row. Oof.
I'm surprised you didn't get him as a Ranger, but well, there's that for you.
The funny thing is,
Shortstop,
he was the
Ernie
guy
Banks.
squawking a bit this week about Bob Brenly, right?
Yeah.
He just broke Brenly's back, bam, with a solo shot. Deal with that.
Take that, Brenly.
Ernie Banks, let's hit two. Great play.
Pitcher, Ed Reulbach.
Ernie
Well,
Banks
here's,
eighth.
yeah, right. It's the Cubs, man.
What
They're
messed up
stacked.
world is this?
Well, let's see what Big Ed Reulbach has for us. We got nothing. That National League Baseball,
Second
baby.
baseman,
Something
Ron
like
Sandberg.
When I post Sandberg's photo up for Player of the Day, he's won it a couple times. He gets a ton of feedback from Cubs fans, and about 80% of it's female. So,
he is dreamy.
yeah, it doesn't hurt that I got blue eyes, blue hat, blue background, 80s mullet. Like, what's not to like?
Peak Sandberg.
Yeah.
Out at
Right
first.
fielder,
Sandberg.
number
Done.
6, David Peralta.
Not
Come on,
quite.
Dave.
Pitcher,
that?
number 31, Ian Kennedy.
Ian Kennedy is no bunter. He's not much of a hitter either.
Just hope he doesn't pull something.
Right? Don't get hurt. There we go.
Center fielder, Steve Finley.
Oh, he legs it out.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Oh!
Right fielder,
Woo!
What a crap call. One of my favorite bits, if you hit a guy on the home team, they've got this great track, and there's a dude in the stands who just keeps going, no way! No way! And then he complains to, I assume, his wife. It's my favorite sound effect in the whole game. Hopefully we'll get it.
All right.
left fielder, Hack
We
Wilson.
got a real barn burner. 2 hits so far combined. Oh, there we go. No. All right. So a sinking liner. Finley can dive with 1 out. It's got a 69% chance to catch it. Sometimes, if you dive and miss, it just means you trapped it and the runner stays. Sometimes they get an extra base or 2 out.
Go dive it.
All right.
Steve Finley, man.
Look at Steve Finley.
Catcher,
Getting it
Gabby
done.
Hartnett.
Oh, that's troublesome.
Third baseman,
Peralta getting it done.
Lamb.
All right, Jake.
The Jake Lamb show. 2 walks.
I mean, it really felt like
Paul.
It felt like
Goldschmidt.
Lamb was going to be something. When he first came up, his first couple of years were
He kind
notable.
of for those first few years. Then he got I think the injuries piled up.
Yeah, he just couldn't stay on the field. We were worried about him, though. Oh, Ed boots it.
Left fielder, Luis Gonzalez.
I love it when it's something like this. Goldschmidt, for some reason, has an 81% chance to steal second. But
Man.
Lamb's up here at 29, right? Like, you can't do anything.
It has wheels, man.
Man, especially baby Goldschmidt.
Yeah, baby Goldschmidt, but he was good for 25, 30 bases a year.
Back when he was winning titles for my fantasy team.
Yeah, back when he was spry.
Yeah.
Now at the Cardinals, he's good for 4 or 5 bases a year.
Right. As the back end of a double steal.
Right.
All right, Gonzo. Well, he moves the runners.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm just not used
Second
to seeing
baseman, Keetle Mart.
Good job, Juice.
that. I read an article about players who could move, and they talked about Marte as being the not the biggest name, but I think he signed for like 3 more years at not bad, like 10, 11, 12 mil.
Very team friendly, so there's going to be a lot of clubs lining up to take a shot at him.
I mean, for a guy who plays a good center and a passable second and a tolerable short, like he could plug a hole for a team for a long time, but it'll cost.
And as a switch hitter too.
Man, all right. Oh, they got Lamb in a rundown.
Come on, Lammer.
Miguel Montero.
At least he didn't get hurt.
I guess.
All right, Montero, kind of down to you.
Swing and bunt.
Yeah, it's not happening.
First baseman, Anthony Rizzo.
We can't handle Ed Reulbach, who's going to show up and throw 198 pitches today.
Fielder,
Right.
Sammy Sosa.
Sosa had a huge day. 2 weeks ago, probably had like 9
Third
RBI.
baseman,
And I was trying to find a better
Ramirez.
picture for him. So I went to Yahoo or Google and typed in Sammy Sosa Cubs. And time has not been kind to Sammy Sosa.
Sammy's falling apart a little bit.
Man, I think I knew that, but I'd forgotten it or blocked it from my memory. But yeah, not doing any card shows these days, I don't think. Finley.
Shortstop, J. Bell.
All right, Mr. D-back.
Look at this.
All right, J. Bell. Good job. Good job.
David Peralta.
Peralta can't bunt, and Bell can't run. So that makes this pretty simple.
Makes this tough.
Run, Bell. Man, he's slow.
Pitcher.
Doubled up.
Ian Kennedy.
Doubled up, and now we get the pitcher. One of those innings.
Yeah.
Shortstop. Ernie
Banks.
Banks.
Banks has had a rotten year. Wow, look at that.
What kind of shape is Kennedy in out there? Let's ask that question now.
Right? Well, he's only thrown 60 pitches, so out of a 115 max. So
wow, so he is really cruising.
He is kind of cruising. I mean, he's only given up one hit.
Sure. I was just concerned that, knowing his frailties in real life, I was thinking
right.
Maybe he had a short inning leash, but no, he's cruising.
So here's an example of a guy whose obviously his numbers are depressed this year. Ernie Banks. The numbers up here are what he should be at on average, right? 290, 38 homers, 110 RBI. But the numbers here are what he's actually done. 202, 10 homer, 39 RBI. So at 100 games into the season, it has been a struggle for Mr. Cub.
And yeah, I see why.
Yep, just like that.
Ed Reulbach.
Apparently, we've got 46-year-old Ernie Banks out there.
Right. Look at Big Ed tearing it up.
Second baseman.
And
Rod Sandberg.
I'm not sure we got to hold Ed Reulbach on.
No.
Oh, boy.
We got problems.
Yeah, that's a long way gone. That's well beyond the swimming pool.
Right fielder. Billy Williams.
All of a sudden, that little tapper to center from the pitcher doesn't seem so cute anymore.
No. I mean, anytime the pitcher gets on, this is a team of all-timers. Anytime you line up over, it's going to be bad.
That's true. It's like Goldschmidt dropped
Left
one.
Fielder. Hack.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, no, it was Lamb. Credit Lamb with the error. So, all right. Those extra outs will kill you.
Let's get somebody up.
Catcher.
All right.
Gavin.
Hey, Marty,
Barnett.
since you're a Diamondback fan number one, looking here at the pen, who you fancying here? I know that late in the game, Ziegler and Byung-Hyun Kim are usually the two go-tos. Valverde's the closer, and he's been pretty good.
I think one of those short guys is probably in order here because we're going to need him to get tightened up.
Yeah, it's mainly righties coming up. One lefty. So put in Kim, says Rob. You just want to see him get hurt. I know what.
Want to see Scott Brocious go deep on him.
Marty says with men on base, Ziegler. So okay, we'll warm up Dolph Ziegler. Brad Ziegler. So we usually you have to pitch to one guy. Now Hartnett's a good bunter, but I'm not sure he's bunting with one out.
Well, yeah, I don't think so either.
All right, so we'll leave him be. See what we get here. Hey, we may get two anyway. Oh, just one.
First baseman.
So we get one.
Anthony Rizzo.
And if we visit the mound, says Kennedy is strong, but he is at 88 pitches. His max is 115. So even if he gets out of it, he might have one more inning. But
either way, we've got Rizzo the lefty up, so it doesn't like going to Ziegler here doesn't give us an advantage. Yeah,
that's true. So I'm going to let Marty make this call. He's Mr. Diamondback, and this is a critical point of the game. So, Marty, does Kennedy get one more batter, or you want Ziegler in right now?
No pressure.
No pressure. Well, it takes the pressure off of us. So,
right. Because it's proven we're not good at this.
Right? Yeah, no, we don't know what we're doing. So, but now, your team's fate rests in our hands. So,
well, barring anything else, we can go with Rob's suggestion.
Yeah, Rob seems pretty insistent. But I'm not sure he has our best interests at heart.
Rob is flying a white flag with a W on
it. All right. Marty says let Kennedy pitch. So at least one more. No, I didn't do that. All right, so one run's in. We got a small chance to get Wilson at home if we want to throw. But
nah, cut it off.
Peralta's got a bad arm. Yeah, throw home. No.
Center field.
So just like that.
Sammy Sosa.
Yeah, go get Ziegler.
Time for the Zigs.
Time to end this madness.
Oh, I forget I got to check this first. So, because it's National League Baseball. So, oh yeah, Kennedy just bat. So It's fine. That's exactly where it belongs. So, we'll go to Ziegler. Right.
Pitching for Arizona, number 29, Brad Ziegler.
All right.
Way to chump it up, Ian Kennedy.
Right? Ugh.
Center
all right, we need a rally.
Steve Finley.
As usual. Should we bunt with Finley?
No.
You sure he's a good bunter?
5.
All right, fine. I don't know. Maybe we should have bunted. I'm just saying.
Third baseman, Jake Lamb.
So the third baseman could throw him out? It's not much of a difference.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Look at Jake Lamb, though.
You can't
take it for 3.
First baseman.
Legging it out. Jake Leg of Lamb.
Right now, if Brent were here, he'd be like, he could steal home.
He's on.
He loves the running game.
He's on it.
But we're going to let Goldie.
Just trying to hit the ball in the air.
All right, send Lamb home. Safe chance, 84%. I think we got to break up the shutout.
I think we got to do that.
All right.
I think we got to go.
Look at that. We're on the board.
Left
they said
Gonzalez.
They said it couldn't be done, but we have scored a run
on Ed Reulbach.
We'll see if Gonzo can make him hurt too. No. Stop hitting it to Sandberg.
Those forearms are looking all awful noodly and flaccid here. Noodly, flaccid arms.
Right? Not even hitting it to deep short anymore.
Nope.
Shortstop, Ernie Banks.
Ziegler's happy to be here.
Mr. Cub going down.
And now Big Ed. Almost legging it out. Good for you, Ed.
We should take a look at our pitching situation again.
After the song. Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go around.
Finish. Okay. So we've got 3 righties, 2 lefties coming up. And in the pen, we've got the organist.
You know, Stouty Salazar spelled backwards is Razalaz.
The organist is frisky tonight.
He is. He's working it.
All right, so Greg Swindell's available. He hasn't thrown too much lately. We got Young Hyun Kim. He hasn't thrown much at all.
Yeah.
Keep Rob happy.
Yeah. We're already down 4. I'm thinking we should probably go get somebody who could potentially close this out for us. Like Swindell as a starter, that's probably not a bad pick.
Yeah, and he's good. He's good on lefties too. So
yeah, at worst, we're gonna lose by more. At best, he'll at least be able to give us some outs.
All right, I'm fine with that. So, Greg, get warming. Marte, get hitting.
Like worst case scenario, Greg Swindell
catcher Miguel
pitches 3 innings and gives up 8 more runs.
Right, the Luis Sessa.
Right.
Part of the ball game. Man. It's only got 1.
Shortstop, J. Bell.
I mean, it's late. It's late enough to start thinking about pinch hitters, but
What's the
let's
point?
see. I don't know what Arizona. Let's see what Arizona has that might help.
We need runners.
Yeah, we don't really have anybody that might help beyond when Peralta comes up.
Well, let's also take a look at the bench here, because we're going to double switch if J. Bell ends this.
That's true.
So
we got Escobar, who can play a couple different places. Kelly, who's our only other catcher. Pollock can play anywhere in the outfield. So
what else?
Who do
we have on the infield? We got
Escobar can play a couple different places. Let's see. Escobar can play second or third. And we've got Rubio Durazo.
That's not.
And Nick Ahmed, who can shortstop for us. So,
yeah, who's hitting better between Ahmed and first guy?
Escobar. I think Escobar is. Let's see, Escobar with an OPS of 633. Escobar is well ahead of Nick Ahmed's 477.
So we'll get Escobar in on the double switch, and we'll juggle positions when we get there.
Yeah. So you kind of got Dumb and Dumber there on the bench, but okay.
Hey, if J. Bell doesn't want to come out of the game, he can get a hit.
Or tap into a double play.
Second base,
J. Bell.
Man.
Sandberg.
All right.
Let's see. Sandberg hits lefties 20 points higher than righties. So maybe Ziegler gets one last guy here.
He does look strong.
Yeah. Just like he must work out.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we could ride Brad Ziegler for another inning and then just pinch it for him at the top of the inning.
Right fielder.
Possible.
And there goes Sandberg stroking his thing to the left because we suck.
Yeah.
Stupid computer.
Yeah. I think that's it for Ziegler. Because I want to get Swindell for both of these lefties here.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So let's get Swindell in there for J. Bell, and then get Escobar in there in the 9 spot.
So so he goes here.
Pitching for Arizona, Greg Swindell.
And then we move Marte to short and put Escobar in the 9 spot as a second baseman. There we go. All right. Sandberg was at 98 to steal second, so I like that he's calmed down with a lefty on the mound as well, controlling that running game.
A lefty with a good move.
See how that worked?
Wilson.
He didn't steal him. He struck a guy out.
Funky.
I'm going to pick him off here just to keep him close. That's better. Drops from 80 to 54%. So
like it.
Paying attention to him. All right, Hack Wilson. Just ran out of room. Joe.
Catcher, Gabby Hartnett.
All right. Well, it's 5-1. I don't know. Would you consider putting Hartnett on to set up the double play and pitch to the lefty?
Yes. Let's do it.
All right. So
we got nothing for Gabby Hartnett.
Gabby.
First baseman, Anthony Rizzo.
And now the Rizzo. Look at this. All right, 1% chance to throw him out at home, but a 50% chance of the double play. So
double play. That's what we're setting up for. That's what we wanted.
Close.
Yeah, I mean Rizzo's got wheels. So
Sammy Sosa.
It wasn't it kind of worked what we were trying to do. So
look, that's exactly what we wanted them to do.
He struck out
Right
Sosa.
fielder,
all right.
David Peralta.
What's our bench situation look like? Because David Peralta can't hit nothing.
Peralta is, pinch hittable. Pollock is slightly better. Kelly's better still. So you could pinch hit Kelly and then replace him with Pollock in the field. If we wanted to do that right now.
Yeah, let's put in Carson Kelly and then we'll leave Carson Kelly in and pull Miguel Montero.
All right, reasonable.
He stinks.
So Carson Kelly, welcome to the ball game.
Hi, everybody.
Arizona.
Carson Kelly.
Carson Kelly
would eat the moon if it was made of ribs.
Well, so would I.
I know I would.
I tell you, Norm.
Look at that wild
second
throw.
baseman,
Carson
5.
Kelly.
Carson Kelly legging it out. I feel like a genius.
Now, if you wanted to leave Montero at catcher, you could pinch run for Kelly right now. But we are down 5 runs, so maybe I'm getting ahead of myself.
I think you're managing a 1-run situation.
Could be
with a 4-run deficit or 5.
But I'm an optimist. That's why my friends call me Whiskers.
Pitch the ball, Whiskers.
All right, fine. Run, Carson.
Oh, I suppose
Steve Finley.
Under normal circumstances, we'd be applauding him for moving the runner, but
right, get that run in, move him over, get him in. Steve Finley.
Third
Come
baseman,
on, Steve Finley.
Jake Lamb.
It's all up to you, Jake. Man, it has been a tough day at the yard.
Third baseman,
for the
Aramis
Snakes.
Ramirez.
All right, so now we were gonna. Kelly is gonna catch, and Pollock is coming in for Montero.
Does Montero
sucks. Right field.
Sure.
Montero wasn't bad, but
he's terrible.
I mean, it is eternal baseball.
He's
right?
a bum.
When you're the Cardinals and you've got Ted Simmons and Yadi Molina fighting for time, or the Yankees with Yogi Berra and
Bill Dickey and
Bill Dickey, and Thurman Munson
doesn't make your team.
Munson in the minor leagues, waiting for the opportunity.
Listening to Willie Randolph tell him stories about his one day in the bigs.
Right? They only gave me a shot, and I did great.
He was Moonlight Graham.
Shortstop, Ernie Banks.
Swindell's cruising along here. Or he was, before I opened my mouth.
Yeah, you got to cut that out, man.
Pitcher.
He stayed in the yard.
Mr. Cub's hitting a $170, and he almost left the yard on it.
I think Ed's going to bunt.
1 out, man on second. Yeah, sure. Bring the third baseman in.
That's what I think is going to happen. All right. Aha.
Oh,
baseman.
Suck it, Ed.
I shamed him into it.
Going to give him the DX sign.
Right.
First baseman.
I can only imagine what Ed Reulbach from the 1920s would how his reaction would be.
What are we looking at here in the ninth?
For us, it's Goldschmidt, Gonzalez, Marte.
All right. Let's let him roll then.
It's what we got.
Yeah. That's why we're here.
Ed Reulbach had 100 pitches. Very tidy today.
Left fielder.
Goldschmidt, he stinks to me.
Yeah, tough one.
We should have hit Carson Kelly.
Donzo with a single.
Shortstop, Keetle Mart.
All right. Keetle
Mart. Well, we got a little something cooking.
Rally time.
Right fielder, number 11, AJ Pollock.
Now, the only guy
Montero here anyway.
The only guy on the bench we've only got 2 guys left. Durazo has a little bit of pop, but he's had a terrible year. So
Durazo is up next because if this carries forward, then we need him to hit for Swindell.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point. All right. Oh, don't get too. Run, Pollock.
He's officially a bum.
Man.
The final score from Chase Field, Chicago 6, Arizona 1. Arizona has lost 6 in a row.
Sorry.
Ed Reulbach picks up the win. He
Marty,
is now 10 and 7 on the
apologize.
season. Ian Kennedy is the loser. He is now 2 and 6 on the season. Ron Sanford hit home run number 18 on the season. Hermes Ramirez hit number 11. Time of the game, 2 hours, 52 minutes.
Yeah. Well, at least we got everybody home on time at 2:52. Tied a little 1 hour podcast as well. So that's our silver linings for today. Player of the game, probably Rizzo, I bet. Oh no, Reulbach. All right, fine.
Yeah, fair enough. I was figuring him or Ramirez for hitting the home run, but
I think Rizzo ended up with 3 RBI though. Yeah, not bad for one hit. But and then I always check the stuff after the game, which can be 2 pluses, nothing, or 2 plus, 1 plus, nothing, 1 minus, or 2 minuses. So the only guy who had notably good stuff today was Ian Kennedy, who still gave up 2 homers and 5 earned. Okay. Well,
sure.
You can't say we didn't try. We used everybody except Nick Ahmed and Rubio Durazo, who was coming up next. So
yeah, Rubio Durazo and his tiny T-Rex arms were loosening up with the big sledgehammer and the donuts and the.
Yeah, it just wasn't meant to be tonight. The Cubs are red hot, so apologies to the Diamondback fans, but congratulations to the Cubs who continue to roll. They win the first game of the Monday schedule as they try to chase down the hated Cardinals.
You know what these teams need, both of them, frankly, is Willie Randolph.
Right. Well, he could be had. I bet if we opened up trades, we could probably make that happen.
More than likely.
I'm sure Chicago would bench Sandberg for Willie.
Totally. If they had
maybe
they would.
Since Ernie's having such a tough year, maybe what they need is a little Shawon Dunston, right?
Ooh.
With the Shawon-o-meter?
Bust the Shawon-o-meter out of storage.
Oh, man.
Maybe give him a week. See what happens.
I mean, I hate to bench Ernie Banks, but 203 is 203, 100 games in.
He did almost leave the yard.
Yeah, it's true. Hard to bench Ernie, but it has been 100 games. But they also have Javi Baez is on the squad, so Baez is probably going to take a chunk of that time at short.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at. So welcome to Eternal Baseball and the game of the week, Arizona. Apologize for how that turned out, but I really don't think you can blame us. I think we are blameless.
I think Marstanum is really the man to blame in all this.
Right, Marty?
His fault.
Yeah, well,
on him. Maybe
we'll let him give another shot in the playoffs next year when the Diamondbacks are sure to rebound. So anyway, that's Eternal Baseball. We appreciate you tuning in. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. You can find us all over the place at eternalbaseball.com. That's where the daily scoreboard and the box scores from every game go up on our team-specific message boards. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us every Sunday night on the Eternal Baseball podcast at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific. Normal co-host Brent Rotundi will be back next week. He's been on assignment, but filling in most ably, my pal Mike Irizarry, who you obviously know from the What's on Joe Mind podcast. Mike, why don't you give the baseball fans who haven't found What's on Joe Mind a little insight, a little preview.
I know we're like the world's worst Venn diagram of toy collectors, aren't we?
Yeah.
Like we're two toy guys doing a baseball podcast, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But anyways, What's on Joe Mind is our G.I. Joe podcast. We've been doing it since 2011. And we are at What's on Joe Mind on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all these other places. We're here on YouTube every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're also on Facebook Live every Friday night at 9 in the simulcast. Mm-hmm. As we move on to sexier and sexier technology. But it is myself and it is Mark Weber, the honcho, and Joe, the lovely Joe Colton is with us as well as our other host, and we talk all about the world of G.I. Joe. And that's a fairly large world this year with that Snake Eyes movie coming out next month. So if you have any interest, want to hear all about that or anything else that you were dabbled in as a kid and hear us occasionally segue off into baseball talk or pro wrestling escapades, or any number of pieces of nonsense on a weekly basis, right there. That's Rob with the comment. Quit talking toys and get back to fantasy sports.
Right.
Enjoying the irony of that one as perhaps the one cross section here with us.
I mean, we try to keep this on baseball, but not always, and we try to keep that on Joe, but rarely, actually.
It doesn't work out too well for us because we're crazy people.
It's probably a good thing that Joe doesn't like baseball.
Well,
you and I would.
She likes baseball, but she doesn't. She's not into baseball like we're into baseball.
Yeah, true.
Like if you said to Joe Colton, "Hey, we got tickets for a ball game. Are you in?" Joe Colton is in.
Well, yes.
But if we want to sit down and talk about building a roster and a lineup, Joe Colton's not in.
I think Joe is pretty much game for anything that involves beer. So
that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there beer at the ballpark? Yes. Let's go.
Then she is on board. But
and that has to be a really long run for a G.I. Joe podcast, doesn't it? 10 years sounds pretty impressive.
It's the longest one that we know of that only does G.I. Joe. So again, you can find us on Facebook at WOJM What's on Joe Mind. You can find us on Facebook at WOJM Podcast, or I'm sorry, on Twitter at WOJM Podcast, on Instagram at What's on Joe Mind, and of course, you're on YouTube, same as Facebook, WOJM What's on Joe Mind. And that's every Friday night at 9 p.m. is our team stream, where it's the three of us, and hopefully we'll start getting some other intermittent material up and posted at random other times as well. But again, if you want to explore your inner geek, if you collected those little dudes in the 80s and 90s like Mark and I did, come on by and give us a call. It's very relaxed. We don't I don't think we get too terribly geeky, or if we do, it's a very accessible kind of geeky that involves beer and pro wrestling.
Yeah, we're the cool kids, right? Otherwise, the girls wouldn't hang out with us.
Okay, I hadn't thought of it like that.
That's what I'm talking about. So for Mike, we appreciate filling in, and for Brent, we'll be back next week. And for you, for joining in, we certainly do appreciate it. And thanks for stopping by on the Eternal Baseball Podcast.
You know, they told me last week Brent was going to be back this week, but look what happened. So I'm just going to count on being here.
We'll see.